Imagine if your web browser remembered every single thing that you browse. And imagine if it remembered every single step of all of your workflows so that all you have to do is ask the AI agent within your web browser to do any task and it will do it. That is what's coming very soon. In this video, we're going to be comparing the different Vibe browser tools. We're going to take a look at the features inside Perplexity's new Comet. And then finally, we're going to talk about what it means to have a state-of-the-art AI agent in your web browser. Let's just dive into the video. This is going to be a fun one. And before we dive into the browser wars comparing the main tools, I want to give a concrete example of Comet. I talked about DIA in my last video if you're interested. And the OpenAI browser is just a rumor, but it's 100% coming within the next few weeks because Google's stock is already tanking and it just makes perfect sense that OpenAI would release a browser. But right now, I want to talk about Comet, not as like a you should use this, but I really want you to get a good idea of what a Vibe browser or an AI agent within a browser looks like and feels like. It is a combination of a familiar interface with an AI agent interface here on the right. And that is what Andrej Karpathy has been talking about a lot. He talked about it in this talk, where you have a fast feedback loop between a familiar interface and an AI agent that basically is keeping track of all of the keystrokes, all of the things that you're doing. It's learning, and soon it's going to become more proactive. And that's how we get the kind of the Jarvis of the future. So let's talk about this. Obviously, it is Perplexity, right? It's a Perplexity, simple interface. We can search things. We can say, what did Andrej Karpathy talk about in his Y Combinator thing, right? And it will just give it to us straight right here, the evolution of software 1.0, et cetera, standard Perplexity response. And so this is cool, right? Obviously, you have Perplexity, right? Nothing new. OpenAI or ChatGPT can do this. Claude can now do this. But what it can't do is say, please go to LinkedIn and post this, but condense it to 4 sentences, no emojis or hashtags. And so now you see it says working. Check this out. If we click on this right here, we see that in this little side browser, it navigated to LinkedIn. Now it's writing the post. I don't know if you can see that. It's very small on my screen. It's now reasoning. I need to create a new LinkedIn post. As you can see, it's actually pasted that post in, and boom. And if we go to a new tab by pressing Command T, I can just go LinkedIn. And we could see here that if we go to my profile, we can see that it posted this for me. It automatically posted it. And so that's basically what's going on here. One thing that I really like about these Vibe browser tools is that you can @mention different things that are open or your bookmarks. So for the Andrej Karpathy video, I can do @Andrej Karpathy and enter it in. With Perplexity, it doesn't seem to have really strong bookmarks or have really strong, like you can't mention bookmarks like on DIA browser, for example, which is a very similar idea. And I think it's useful that we actually talk about this. So this is forget Google and Microsoft. OpenAI may be building the ultimate suite of apps, right? So let's say that I am writing a Google, I'm on Google Docs. And if you watch my last video, you already saw this. If you go Command E, it opens up this side panel. I can not only go and tag that article, say, write 5 sentences on this. I can also, for the next one, right, it's going to write this for me. And then I'll be able to, please write it. Right? If you get it to write it in this format, you can very easily insert it. But what you can also do here is you can go all open tabs. And you can also your bookmarks, like my short form hooks, right? I can write short form hooks. I can go long form hooks, right? And I can say, please write in my voice. So I just gave it context of some of my content and the context of the rest of the tabs open. And so that's actually my favorite feature out of DIA or Perplexity. Like, I absolutely love the fact that I can just @mention all of my bookmarks, because it turns my web browser and all the things that I consciously save into permanent memory that I can access at any given time. And this is just one pretty good example right here. However, the thing that I don't like about DIA is it doesn't have really strong AI models. I'm pretty sure this is GPT 4.1, and it's just not great at writing yet. And so I still can't tell which web browser that I want to go with. But yeah, you can like @mention things, and on this you can actually have it go do things. You can say like, please go to Amazon, search for a new, I don't know, pen that is futuristic and uses AI somehow. Please scroll until you find 3. And you literally can basically just send an AI agent to go do tasks for you while you are on your main tab. And you can see here it's browsing something, or it's browsing Amazon. It's taking advantage of Prime Day, and it's going off and doing things for you. And so that's basically what's going on here, right? Over time, very, very quickly, this AI aspect of this web browser is going to get more and more powerful, probably to the point where it gets so powerful that you don't even really need the web browser portion. The AI is going to be able to do so much for you. That is what I want to talk about today. That's what I want to really dive into, some of the details, and kind of compare these different tools. DIA was the first one to launch. They launched a little over a week ago now, and I've been in their beta for like 2 weeks, and a lot of people really like it. But I will say Comet is stealing the show, and I guarantee you OpenAI, when they release their browser within the next week, they are going to steal the show from Perplexity. And so one thing that OpenAI released last year, they released Operator and Deep Research. And so you can think of Deep Research as basically a PhD level researcher that can go off and research things, and it will decide when it's done researching. And that's what makes it so agentic, right? An agent is a model that uses tools in a loop. And so if you're using tools in a loop, it's not just going to use tools in a loop forever. The agent will actually decide when to stop using tools. And the same goes for Operator, which is a browser use agent, which is very similar to what you saw with Perplexity. Perplexity has an operator, right? I'm just calling it Operator. That's the name OpenAI gave Operator, but we're just going to call it Operator, which is just a browser use agent. And Perplexity also has Deep Research, and their Deep Research has access to many different models. You can use DeepSeek R1, you can use OpenAI's models, you can use Claude's models, you can use any AI model. They just added Grok 4. DIA is free, right? I'm pretty sure the cheapest plan is $200 per year to get access to Comet. Maybe there's free, but like I don't think you get access to all the features for free. But DIA seems to be free, but I do think they're going to add a premium plan with the different AI models, which I would pay for. And so these 3 tools, DIA, Comet, and ChatGPT, have features that are somewhat similar, and that is skills, spaces, and projects. If you're in DIA, you can actually press / and you have access to basically like custom prompts, right? And so let's say that I'm watching a YouTube video on DIA, and it's this video right here. This is the demo. We press Command E, and what we can do is we can actually create custom. This is quote summary. So this just grabs the most important quotes from the video, and it just puts them in a line. And obviously it's not numbering them properly, but this is just a custom summary format. And I have another one, which is Summary Quick, which is a very short summary that I can use at any given time. And this is just a way to access certain AI powers really quickly. In Comet, I forget which ones I even have. They have what's called spaces. It's very similar. This is like AING. This is basically my AI agent that explains things really simply. So I can say explain AI agents, and the custom prompt within this, right? If we were to open up a new tab here and we were to open up Spaces in AING, if we were to go into our custom prompt, if we hit settings, it's like you are an expert explainer specifically on the topic surrounding AI. So I can very quickly access this system prompt and any other files that I upload to this, like almost like a ChatGPT project or a Claude project. It's very similar. You can basically have access to it at any time. All you have to do is press at, and it's very similar to the way that you at mention on DIA. ChatGPT has projects, and it's very similar. And I guarantee you they're going to be carrying that into their web browser. And it wouldn't actually surprise me if ChatGPT just didn't become a browser, because I think that they just want to keep people on that platform. And so that's what I mean by skills, spaces, and projects. They all have different ways that maintain different types of memory and system prompts depending on the task that you want to do at any given time. If we compare the amount of users, right? Obviously, Chrome has 2.5 billion roughly weekly active users, and OpenAI has weekly 800 million weekly active users. They are growing by far the fastest. The same way that Google Chrome in just a few years took over the browser market, ChatGPT is doing the same thing to them again. And so obviously in late 2022, we were introduced to ChatGPT. And then, in 2023 and 2024, we had separate experiences. We had ChatGPT and we had Google. And a lot of things was going to a web browser, copying and pasting things, pasting them into ChatGPT, getting some summaries, pasting it back into Google. And it's kind of this slow process. And they were two separate entities. And now with this vibe browsing revolution, we get a very nice, you put them together basically. We put together this web browser with this AI chat feature, and they're very much related, right? You can highlight something on Perplexity, right? In Perplexity, right? Let's say I were to copy this, right? If I highlight this, look, it shows up right here and it immediately puts it into context. On top of this, let's go to an interesting part. So this is a slide. If I were to press this button right here, this is a screenshot on Perplexity, and I could say, please, do additional research, right? And it would have context of that image. And so it's very much intermingling these chat features and the browser feature. And it's the same exact process on DIA, right? DIA has this camera thing. It's like click to drag. And this has like a snap feature. It's actually pretty solid the way it does that. They have a really good design. And then you can just very quickly reference things. So the feedback loop and the just kind of the speed of usage between the browser and the chat is becoming like that. And obviously in Perplexity's case, you can literally browse just by telling basically a separate browser instance to go off and browse for you, which is really, really cool. And this is kind of another shift. And so this little side panel right here is still reactive, right? You still have to go to it and tell it what you want it to do. You have to tell it to go browse stuff. It's not yet proactive, but mark my words, that's exactly where this is going, right? I was reading an article today that said these companies are aiming to transform browsers from passive tools into proactive assistants that anticipate user needs, which they can deliver smarter and more tailored experiences than Chrome has yet to fully embrace. For now, right? We'll see if Chrome responds to these tools. They basically have to. And the way their whole product team is set up now, I've seen Google completely turn it around. And they are now innovating as fast as OpenAI. Gemini and Claude are both rapidly advancing in terms of revenue. And I anticipate it's going to get much more competitive from those players as well. So what will OpenAI's browser do, right? What will the features be? And I really want you to think about this because you might have heard of all of the things that I'm about to say, but have you ever wrapped your head around what it means to have all of them in one single tool? In my opinion, the way that ChatGPT is moving as it becomes a browser, it will become a business. You and ChatGPT are a business, right? Why do businesses exist? Businesses exist because It's more efficient to have many people working together, right? The sum of all the people working together on a problem is greater than its parts. And you don't have time to learn accounting, to learn design, to learn how to build a product, to do marketing, to do all these different things. Well, ChatGPT, as it gets smarter, will allow you to become a business in and of yourself. And you can just move a lot faster. You don't have to set up meetings. You don't have to talk to people. You can just take action. You can learn anything because let's talk about their features, right? ChatGPT is a web browser, right? It is an AI that can use a browser and it can run many instances of a web browser, right? If you remember Operator, it takes control of your browser. It can go off and do tasks. It is also a deep researcher. Obviously, it has normal web search, but it can already research for up to like 45 minutes, depending on how hard your research question is. And it is AI that can research like a PhD. And obviously, with a tool like ChatGPT, it can answer any question. Obviously, with their image generation tool, it can create any visual, whether that is an image or an infographic, right? It can speak to you. And then where it gets really, really interesting is it can create documents. ChatGPT released a feature called Canvas, and you can see it a little bit right here. We can make this a little bit bigger, but if you ask ChatGPT or if you ask Claude, they have the same feature, right? Claude has the same feature. I used it right here. This is a little canvas, right? And you can highlight it and you can say explain, and like it's kind of this natural separation between your chat interface and kind of the work that you're working on. In ChatGPT, you can actually directly edit it. You can't type on this on Claude yet, which is kind of annoying. They should add that feature. But the point is you can create these little canvases. If you use Gemini, right? Gemini's feature, where I'm pretty sure on my Arc, if I go to Gemini on gemini.google.com, create a canvas on a poem, right? If you just ask it to create a canvas, it should. Maybe I have to. Okay. So I asked the AI to create a canvas, and now you can actually edit this right here on the side. And Gemini's interface has gotten a lot better. And what you can do is you can actually hit this share feature. You can export it to docs. And ChatGPT can do this same exact thing where it can use a canvas, and soon, OpenAI, you're going to be able to add it to their version of Google Docs. So not only did OpenAI hire 2 former Chrome founding team members, they're also building, right? They are building the ultimate work suite of apps and services. So they are literally building Google, the equivalent to Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, and I would anticipate they will add a Mail. And the same way that Google copied Microsoft, they're going to be building a full Office suite. They already added a Granola-like feature. So Granola is a note taker. Well, OpenAI copied that exact feature as well. So it seems to me that they're going after the kind of Office suite. And so yeah, that's kind of the direction they're going. It can do all of these things, and pretty soon, not only will it be able to do all types of research, answer any of your questions, create, speak, and create documents for you, and create sheet slides and mail, right? Not only is it going to be able to research or answer your question, create any visual, or speak to you, it will be able to create any document for you in the file type that you need. And as a thought experiment, I really wanted to talk about now versus 1 year from now as a thought experiment, right? As you know, if you've used deep research, right? Deep research on ChatGPT, how good is it doing research? And I would say it's pretty good now. Like I would say it's a 6 or 7 out of 10. Tyler Cowen, who is an economist, he talks about how his deep research, O3 deep research, is actually better than some of his research assistants. But a lot of people think that it is very good at doing research. Now, if you used Operator, you know that it's not very good at controlling a computer. It doesn't really have good context of where it's at, right? Which is very similar to this Comet thing. It's just like, go to LinkedIn and please draft a post. Don't post it. Just type it of this. And in this window that opens up right here on Perplexity, I would show you on ChatGPT, but I just got a new MacBook and I'm not even signed in. Okay, there you go. So when this thing pops up and it says working, that means it is using the browser agent. And so this is what I'm talking about. This is what it means to browse to like actually browse. So here it's actually typing something on LinkedIn for me while I work, right? You don't even need to have this open. Ideally, this gets so good that you don't even need to like really keep tabs on it. It'll just be like, yeah, buddy, I got you. I posted it. Don't worry about it. And then it's just like, oh, okay, that's pretty damn cool. And you can see here that it is lined up. I don't think it's actually posted it, but it's still not great, right? It can do like 4 or 5 steps of a thing, but it forgets where it's at, right? It doesn't have really good context. There's another tool that I've used. It's called Vi by Vercept. Vi, it's like a computer use AI agent. It literally controls your actual computer. It doesn't just control your browser, but it's not very good. I'm going to be honest. And so I personally think this is going to get a lot better very, very fast. It's already gotten better in the last 6 months, but I've been talking to companies who are working on this problem, and there's a lot of innovations coming around the corner to basically allow for the agent to have like spatial memory and know exactly what step it's on and be able to retrace its steps and know what the next step is to be. Because right now it's just kind of getting lost. Imagine in a year, right? What happens if in 1 year it becomes better than 99% of humans at doing research and controlling a computer? Meaning it could just fly through web pages much faster. It could memorize long workflows, right? As you can see here, like I set up this research by like copying and pasting things from around the internet into this Figma board. I drag them around this canvas, organize them in an interesting way. Imagine if an AI agent could do the same thing, right? Imagine if an AI agent could actually I think that would be really cool if it could copy and paste things that it thought that I would think are interesting and pasted them on a canvas. Maybe it leaves me little comments for what I think would be interesting. I think that would be like a really fascinating and super useful tool. Now, what does that mean for a lot of people? I think that would scare a lot of people because like most people who went to college went there to build expertise, right? To build knowledge and to be able to do things in a company that requires a computer, right? You are using your knowledge through a computer. And what we're doing in this specific case is we're basically teaching an AI, right? It can already answer any question for you. But like, you're like, yeah, but I'm safe because, AIs don't know how to actually do this stuff. Yeah, it might have knowledge, but it can't actually do anything. Yeah, well, that might not last very long, right? If you can teach an AI to use that same knowledge that it has in ChatGPT, and you could exert that knowledge into using a computer, right? Which I think it's on pace to. I think by mid 2026, it's going to be a 10 out of 10 at controlling a computer. Like I actually believe that. Maybe even by the end of 2025. Like who knows? We are one leap away. And the implications of that are insane. Absolutely insane. We are in a massive shift right now. We are in a massive shift. And it started off, like, as you can see here, from like 2010 or from 2010 to like 2018, we saw Chrome just like take over the browsing market. And right now, like over the past, I would say 5 years, we've seen a shift from a lot of the way that people interface with the internet have just become really social. People are using TikTok to search. People are using Instagram to search. People are using X to search, right? I keep up with AI advancements and adoption mostly through X, like 90% of it, because that's where all of the smart people are hanging out and posting things in real time. And it has just become a better source of information than Google, which basically just serves me ads all the time. And so we're kind of going through this third shift from like browsers to social to chat. And then now we're going to kind of get this like weird merger between AI chat and browsing, right? It's this weird phenomenon, and we don't fully know what this looks like yet, but we do know it's powerful. We know that browsing is essential. People still use browsers all the time. More people use browsers. More people are using Chrome than ChatGPT by a lot, right? As we saw earlier up here, right? We see 2.5 billion weekly active users on Chrome, 800 million on ChatGPT. But if this was left alone, ChatGPT is going to pass Chrome within the next year or two, right? And so a lot of companies are asking themselves right now, they're like, okay, what do we do, right? How do we show up on these browsers? And in the future, I'm going to make a video on kind of large language model optimization. This is a new trend that requires probably an hour-long video, and I'll probably bring someone on to talk about it on a future episode of the podcast because I don't know much about it. I do know that you probably want to show up on popular publications. You probably want to show up there, and you probably want to be talked about in public, right? I have a startup, the Vibe Code app, and I want people to know about it, right? I'm in charge of its marketing. And I think it's important to get out there and kind of intermingle your brand with other brands and really get out there, because AI is going to be searching the internet, right? People are going to be interfacing with the chat. And as we saw with the Perplexity example, AI is going to be searching the internet. Most of the entities searching the internet is AI. And so the whole paradigm of search engine optimization is going to be flipped on its head. We don't know exactly how it will be flipped on its head, but that's why we have this channel. I'm going to be talking about it in the future. And the way that I see the most successful people handle the AI revolution in general, and I think it would stand for this transformation from this like chat paradigm to this browser chat paradigm, is just to become a business. Not only become a business, but become a content creator. It is now more risky to get a job than it is to become a founder or entrepreneur. And that's because of all of this futuristic technology, right? Businesses don't want to take the risk of bringing on too many humans if you don't know what role you're hiring for. Like if you're asking yourself, will my job be safe? Just know that like if you are worried, if you're playing defense, right? If you're playing defense and you're worried about these agentic browsers that can go off and do tasks for you, you're already doing something wrong. You need to attack through it. Do not be cynical about it, and just learn how to use these tools effectively to always be connecting, or ABC. And so this is something that I've been talking about, right? You always want to be finding connections through all of your life's experiences. And you want to find connections between like AI content and certain marketing principles. And then also like take concepts from poker, which is one of my other interests. And you want to focus on being human, finding connections, things that AIs aren't likely to find. And you want to make sure that you're not just doing repetitive behaviors on a computer, because that's exactly what AI is getting really, really good at. And so you can use these AI search, these AI-powered vibe browsing tools to just rapidly accelerate the speed at which you learn. And if you just focus on like being really fast, delivering high-quality work, and using AI across the board, you will make it. You will be fine. It's going to be such an exciting time in the world of AI, and every single tool that we know of is going to kind of transition into something like this, where you have this familiar web browser or familiar interface, right? This is going to be Adobe. Adobe's going to literally be this, right? You have this familiar video editing platform. You'll have your timeline down here with all your tracks, and then you'll have an AI agent that can go out and control everything, right? And if your tools are built in such a way that it can't do this, your software tools are in trouble. That's just the way it works. And what an exciting time. Anyway, that was just a quick little video on the browser wars, all the different tools and the transition. And yeah, I'll see you here in the next video.